You press play because you already know the answer, and you're tired of pretending you don't. Attraction is not a choice. Not yours. Not theirs. It's not a debate, a pitch, or a vote. It's a field. You either create gravity or you leak it. They either fall into it or they don't. Everything else you've been doing is noise you. Add to drown out the silence where power settles. You have been performing for approval, which means you have been building ramps out of your own time and attention and begging people to slide down them. You explain. You justify. You fill the gap. You ask if they got home safe because you're trying to buy reassurance. You entertain. You answer immediately. You make yourself easy to reach and trivial to ignore. You confuse kindness with access. You confuse interest with availability. You confuse warmth with need. You know the feeling you hate, the heaviness in your chest after you send the second message, the hurried correction, the ha-ha you add to soften a statement that didn't need softening, the apology for being yourself. That's the cost of believing attraction is a choice you can negotiate. You can't. Desire isn't moral, it isn't polite, and it doesn't care about your effort. Desire is the body recognizing tension and moving toward it. Comfort dissolves that tension. You've been gifting comfort and wondering where the pull went. You want this clean. Then you accept the law. Tension first, relief last. Never the other way around. Seduction is distance. Not cruelty, not coldness for its own sake. Distance. Space where projection can grow. Space where the other person's imagination works harder than your mouth. Space where your silence makes them talk more, reveal more, chase more, think more. Attraction is not a choice, because the nervous system does not choose to ignore a closed door with light under it. It leans, it lingers, it tests the handle. When you fling the door open and narrate the whole room, there's nothing left to lean into. You've been sabotaging your own gravity. You take up space with words instead of weight. You talk fast. You over-explain. You justify simple decisions. You make your schedule bend around strangers. You put your time on clearance and are surprised when nobody respects the price. Confidence is not noise. Charisma is not volume. Charisma is restraint. It's the feeling that you have more than you are showing, that your reserves are deep, that your attention is earned and conditional. Your restraint makes other people curious, frustrated, and compliant. They don't decide. They respond. End your attachment to being understood. End your impulse to seek agreement. Agreement is clearance. Agreement is approval shopping. Agreement is you asking the world to validate your center. You don't need consensus to have mass. You need stillness and the will to let consequences land. Sit with this. When you chase comfort, you signal dependence. When you signal dependence, you erase threat. When there is no threat of loss, there is no urgency. When there is no urgency, desire starves. You've been feeding comfort. You've been starving desire. Then you call it fate. Then you call it bad luck. It's not luck. It's physics. You try to force attraction with warmth, availability, entertainment, and constant explanation. You think it makes you safe. It makes you predictable. Predictability is the end of tension. Tension is the beginning of desire. You can be safe to be around without being soft to take from. There is a difference. You know it because you can feel your own respect evaporate when someone hands you everything you want up front. You don't choose that. It happens to you. The mirror is cruel and fair. You are tired of just being yourself, meaning justifying yourself. So stop. Speak less. Pause longer. If a sentence can end in a period, end it. If a request doesn't require an explanation, don't attach one. Can you meet tonight? No. Why not? Can't. What are you up to? Busy. If that feels rude, it's because you've been taught that your attention is a public resource. It isn't. You decide where it lives. That's internal authority, not a slogan. A practice. Silence is not passive. Silence is a blade. It cuts through noise and exposes truth. People reveal themselves in the vacuum. They push when you don't. They calibrate to your pace when you don't chase theirs. If they can't tolerate your silence, they won't tolerate your standards. Good. You're not losing anything. You're observing a lack of capacity. You don't fix that. You don't teach adults how to want you. You set distance, you hold it, and you let their nervous system answer a question you're not asking out loud. Will you come closer on my terms or not at all? You care about retention, so you'll test this in your day. Watch what happens when you remove unnecessary explanations. Watch how people fill the gap. They ask follow-ups. They lean. They try to read your face. They reach out again. They check if you're upset. You're not. You're quiet. That is the difference. You've lived in a world where words were a currency you inflated to survive. Here, scarcity is the point. Scarcity is the signal. Scarcity is the magnet. There's a reason you are embarrassed by your past behavior. It wasn't evil. It was loud. Loud with anxiety. Loud with need. Loud with the fear that if you don't capture attention now, you'll never be seen. That fear makes you flood the moment. Flooding cannot coexist with gravity. Gravity requires density. Density requires refusal. You don't get heavy by grabbing. You get heavy by letting go of what leaks you. Self-mastery through denial is not romance. It is unglamorous. It is your hand hovering over the send button and staying still. It is you finishing a message in 6 words instead of 60. It is you leaving a party first because you said 2 hours, not because you ran out of jokes. It is you saying no to small appetites because you're training the muscle that closes the door when you say it's closed. Your body learns from your choices. You deny sugar because you deny needing to feel good all the time. You deny constant stimulation because silence should not frighten you. You deny instant sexual release because you are done teaching your brain that relief beats control. You do this, and your presence gets heavier. You do this, and people feel the cost of proximity. You think this is manipulation. It's not. Manipulation demands attention. This is indifference to approval. If someone needs you to giggle, hurry, and overshare to feel safe with you, they are craving a parent, not a partner, and not a leader. You're not auditioning. You stop auditioning, and you see who sits in the seats anyway. No marketing. No forced warmth. No explanations. Only standards, time, and observation. You have patterns to break. Here they are. You text to absolve your anxiety. You write like a hostage negotiating their release. Stop using messages to fix feelings. Delay your response until you're calm. Then answer in facts or decline cleanly. You explain your no because you want them to think you're still nice. Your no is not a debate. If you're busy, you're busy. If you're not interested, you're not. They will call you cold. You are hearing your old self through their mouth. You seek eye contact to measure approval. You look for smiles after you speak. Hold eye contact as a mirror, not a request. Let your face rest. If they disengage, let them. Your field doesn't collapse because a stranger looks away. You chase when they go quiet. You double text, add emojis, offer a new plan, a discount on your presence. State the plan once. If there's no agreement, the moment ends. You don't drag a corpse to dinner. You give gifts of time to test if they like you. You rearrange your day to fit theirs. You reward their uncertainty with access. Guard your schedule. People feel the hardness of your boundaries more than the softness of your words. If you accept that attraction is not a choice, and you stop trying to be chosen through effort, you stop selling. You start selecting. Selection requires standards. Standards require loss. You cannot have gravity without loss. Things fall away from heavy bodies too. Good. Loss is the proof that your field exists. If nothing bounces off you, You are not dense enough. Desire versus comfort is not philosophical. It's chemical. Comfort tells the nervous system, safe, predictable, low effort. Desire tells it, uncertain, scarce, high value. You've been trying to be both and ending up neither. You hand out comfort like candy and wonder why the room yawns. Then you try to spice it up with performative flirting, loud gestures, frantic invitations. You can't add fire after you poured water everywhere. Stop pouring. Silence versus explanation is a ratio. Most of your explanations are an attempt to control perception. Control behavior instead. Control time. Control access. Control pace. The more you control externals, the less you need to narrate internals. You turn the knob of time, and the room follows. You hold the pause 2 beats longer than is comfortable, and the other person moves to fill it. That's not trickery. That's leadership. Leaders tolerate discomfort. Followers rush to soothe it. Discipline versus impulse is boring in theory until you watch what it does in a face-to-face moment. You listen to someone test you, subtly. They want you to jump. They want you to justify why you're not laughing at the joke. They want you to prove you're harmless. You don't move. Your breath stays easy. Your reply is minimal, or you ignore the test completely and shift topics. They feel it. Their body takes a breath they didn't plan. They calibrate. Either they rise into your frame, or they resent it and leave. Either outcome cleans your environment. Internal authority versus external approval is measured by how willing you are to disappoint strangers. You don't exist to be nice. Niceness is compliance with the lowest common expectation. Your job is to maintain your terms. You do it with quiet. You do it with refusal. You do it with exactness. Not cruelty. Exactness. Exactness is a gift to you first, then to anyone allowed to come close. They always know where you stand because you do. No speeches required. You want tactics. Here, move slower than the room. Walk half a step slower. Turn your head second, not first. Let others arrive to you. Speak in short sentences. Strip qualifiers. Delete excuses. If your reasons are true, you don't need to announce them. If they're not, silence is safer. When asked a personal question you don't want to answer, smile faintly if you feel like it. Say, "I'll pass," and hold eye contact for 2 beats. Then change topic or wait. Let them sit with it. Give your availability in ranges, not options. Wednesday after 7, not whenever works. Constrain your time. Real constraints create respect. Fake flexibility invites erosion. End first. Calls, meetings, dates. Leave with your energy intact. You are not abandoning anyone. You're maintaining a charge. Determine 1 non-negotiable per context and guard it. 1 is enough. You don't need a manifesto. You need a pillar. With texting, never stack messages. If the conversation stalls, it stalls. Attraction grows in absences. Let absence work. Stop announcing your boundaries like a press release. Enforce them, quietly, once, then act. These are not games. Games are played to win approval. This is posture. Posture is how your life carries itself when you aren't trying. If you need to remember lines, you're acting. If you anchor in refusal and pace, the lines become obvious. You find yourself saying less because less is honest. You worry about being misunderstood. You will be. People build stories to protect their comfort. Your restraint will be called arrogance by the undisciplined. Your distance will be called fear by the needy. Your no will be called cruelty by those who benefit from your yes. Noted, not answered. You want to be wanted. Understand what want is. Want is a function of cost. When the path to you is smeared in reassurance and discounts, there is no cost, only consumption. Consumers don't commit. They sample and forget. When presence is scarce, when attention is earned, when your standards stand, people either opt out or invest. Either choice tells you the truth. You don't need to persuade them into attraction. You watch them reveal it. Imagine two rooms. In one, you explain yourself circularly, laugh too loud, check your phone, offer 3 dates, promise flexibility, and leave the door open behind you. In the other, you sit with your spine straight. Your phone is face down. You speak after you think. You don't fix others' discomfort. You end on time, and you lock the door after you. In the first room, you're liked and forgotten. In the second, you're respected and remembered, whether or not they ever meet you again. The memory attaches to what you refused, not what you performed. You think attraction is a moral scorecard. You think you can earn it by being good. You think you can argue someone into desire with kindness. Kindness is not a spell. Attraction is the nervous system recognizing leadership, scarcity, and risk. If you can't risk losing someone by holding your standard, you don't have a standard. You have a plea. Accept this loss. When you become heavier, light people will float away. You don't run after them. You let them escape your gravity because your gravity wasn't meant for them. Your field is built for those who like to feel pulled. You are not responsible for their tolerance of tension. You are responsible for the conditions you keep. You might hate this because it makes you responsible for everything you can control and nothing you can't. That's why it works. You strip away the fantasy of manipulation. You stop managing others' feelings. You stop caring what story they tell when you leave. You care about the time you hold, the breath you control, the words you reduce, the pace you set, the denials you keep, and the attention you ration. That is your gravity. Attraction orbits it or escapes it without your permission. You don't need to prove you have options. You need to behave like you have standards. Options are external. Standards are internal. Options come and go. Standards remain. You've been chasing external proof that you're valuable. You end that. You will allow others to interpret your restraint as they need to. You won't educate them out of their narrative. Education is free labor you give to people who haven't paid the price of closeness. Refund yourself. Your body is part of this. Posture, pace, breath. You breathe slower than you want to. You let silence lengthen by 2 seconds more than you think you can bear. You don't fidget. You don't check the door. You don't rehearse lines in your head while someone else speaks. You actually listen. Then you answer in fewer words than you listened. It will feel empty. Good. Emptiness creates suction. Suction draws truth. On dates, you don't perform. You observe. You ask one layered question and let them fill the space. You don't put on a showroom version of your life. You refuse to sell. If they can't tolerate your unperformed state, they are addicted to stimulation, not ready for intimacy. You don't rescue them with jokes. You let their hunger for noise guide them away. That is how you save time. In text, you don't pepper with boring affection to maintain a connection. You don't drip feed attention like sugar. You disappear between plans. You show up on time to the plan. You are present when present, absent when absent. Not demi-present all day. Always on is always off. Familiarity born from constant access kills charge. You already know this because you are bored by those who never stop showing up. Stop becoming what bores you. In conflict, you don't educate. You don't punish. You don't plead. You state what is. You request what changes once, then you exit if it doesn't. You don't raise your voice. You cut contact or you reduce it. You let the consequence do what your speech can't. People don't argue with gravity. They go around it or they fall. Be a mountain, not a mouth. You like the idea of being mysterious. Mystery isn't curated aesthetics. Mystery is the absence of excess disclosure. You don't withhold to tease. You withhold because not everyone has earned your story. Earned means time plus integrity plus consistency. Until then, they get the surface. The depth exists whether or not you show it. That knowledge fills the space. They feel it without proof. That's charisma through restraint. You carry your routines like law. You eat, sleep, train, work when you said you would. Invitations bend to your calendar, not the other way around. You don't announce your discipline, because announcing it tries to buy respect with narrative. You just keep it. People will push. Come on, live a little. You already live. You are not asking permission to keep your word to yourself. You keep it. That's internal authority. You are done outsourcing your center to whoever pouts the loudest. You want the equation? Here, scarcity of attention equals increased perceived value. You can't fake scarcity with constant signaling. You create scarcity by having a life that pre-exists their arrival and continues without disruption when they leave. Uncertainty within boundaries equals tension, not chaos, not unreliability. Uncertainty about your internal world, your next move, your depth. Boundaries guarantee safety. Uncertainty generates curiosity. Both create pull. Restraint equals credibility. Anyone can promise. Few can pause. Pauses make promises believable without words. Denial equals power retention. Every time you deny an impulse, you keep energy. Hoarded energy thickens presence. Thick presence is felt before it is seen. From here, you stop making yourself light to be carried. You get heavy. Heavy is not traumatic. Heavy is simple. Simple is hard. Hard is rare. Rare draws orbit. You might notice a quiet threat in all of this. Good. The threat is to your old self. The one that survived by reacting. The one that mistook speed for decisiveness, noise for charisma, compliance for kindness. That self kept you external. That self measured worth by mirrors. Mirrors move. You fall less when you stop looking at them. If you have to repeat this, then do. Replay is discipline, not entertainment. Each pass, hear where you still soften a truth you could hold. Notice where you still justify. Notice where your texts overshare. Notice where you laugh to fill air. Starve those places. Replace them with silence. Let people feel it. Let them complain. Let them adapt or leave. Attraction is not a choice because you are not offering a choice. You are offering conditions. Conditions that amplify tension, honor distance, reward discipline, and defer comfort. Those conditions pull some and repel others. Perfect. That's selection. That's the end of chasing. That's the beginning of a life where you sit in your chair, hold your pace, speak when necessary, and watch the room adjust. There is no triumph here. There is weight. There is calm. There is the clean knowledge that you do not need to be chosen by many. You need to be immovable enough that the right few have nowhere else to go. They won't know why they lean toward you. They won't vote on it. They won't want to. Their body will move before their story catches up. They'll tell themselves they chose you. You'll know better. You'll keep your silence. You'll keep your standards. You'll keep your denial. You'll keep your calm. You'll keep your gravity. And everything that can fall will